the practice side. Finance, and I'm speaking for everyone who would be listening to the recording. I would say that I would have loved to have 20% theory and 80% practice, because it is a practical module. And I feel like students always tends to memorize. I don't know where that idea is coming from. I don't know if most of our students are coming from high school and they still have that thing of, I need to memorize somehow the theory, or, I need to know the theory by heart. There is sort of a foundational phase that will take us from learning unit 1 to learning unit 4. And let me show it here. So this that you are seeing is OneNote. I have sent the link to OneNote in our chat, but I will share it again. But I want you to have access to OneNote. And this is the reason why we're using OneNote, because we need a place for our practice. And obviously, for any module, you will have multiple notes that are being exchanged, from the lecturer to the student. Here is the problem, is that there is not a single place, where a single repository where we're putting all those notes. But luckily for us, Microsoft is always a blessing. And OneNote has been used for this module for the past 5 years. So it's stood the test of time, and it's an incredible tool. And we're able actually to put all the notes that we have in one place. So for the foundational phase, we will go from learning unit 1 to learning unit 4. Here is where this is tricky, and I want everyone to be on the same page as me. Learning unit 1 is important for you to understand learning unit 2. Learning unit 1 and 2 is important for you to understand learning unit 3, and etc. So if, for example, learning unit 1, a student doesn't bother to read learning unit 1, that already begins to cause serious problems, because as soon as we move to learning unit 2, there will be things in learning unit 2 that you're not understanding because you did not understand learning unit 1. So there is that incremental knowledge, that you're taking from one learning unit to another. But we're building a house here. We're really building a house here. So as you can see here, so we will have 4 learning units, and those learning units that are foundational will also be the learning units that you would be assessed for your formative tests. You have 2 formative tests, and those are based on learning units 1 to 4. So those foundational learning units are very, very important. Let me see again here if I can get. And again, on this very platform, I'll be able to put important things like the date. So when you are looking for something, instead of you going on the student portal, and I'm saying, yes, of course, you need to go on the student portal. You need to know the student portal, and you need to know ARC. But I also want a place where you can access things quickly. Let's say you're really lost and you do not know. So this will be replaced. This was for semester 1. And this is just to give you an example, because we will get the dates for our assessment, right? Our written exam. So when you see unseen exam sitting, so on your PAS, on your program assessment schedule, once you have your PAS, you will have the date, and it's good to know that I'm writing, in November. Very important. But I will also add it here so that should you be looking for this information, you can access this information. So I'm going to use this one quickly. This was for semester 1. I don't expect it to change, but we will always check. But this gives you basically what you need to know. Again, I need to be straightforward and practical. we need always to go to the core of what we need to do. We're not going to waste time in this module. And that's what you will find out. So when we are working on something, I would ask the entire class, please, to focus on this particular section. You do focus on that particular section because I'm taking you on a journey. It is a bit of a journey until you reach the final destination. So when you're looking, for example, at your ICE tasks, so when you go to your you go to ARC to your class, your ARC, your financial management, you will see that there is a folder for ICE tasks. I don't know if I have to share it here. Denver, maybe you can intervene here. Have you seen the ICE tasks already?
No, I know where to find it, but
You
I
know,
didn't
oh,
go in.
sure.
Yeah.
So maybe for anyone who would be out there and like a bit confused, this is the session where I need to show you the ropes so that, you know, we know what, where everything is so that we're not confused. So let me see if I can get on our, yes, I can. And I'm sharing my screen. So on ARC, this will be your announcement. The first thing that you do on ARC when you come on ARC, obviously you will have the student view. I have the lecturer view. But when you're on ARC, go to your announcement because that's where you keep all. I'm posting everything here. For example, there is that welcome announcement that I posted. So please keep in touch. This information, what I will be doing is that this information will be on WhatsApp, but I will always put it on ARC, right? So ARC is sort of the official, the official communication platform between you and myself, right? But the reason why I use WhatsApp is because it's interactive. It is for speed purposes, maybe you do not have the possibility of logging in at a particular moment, but you can check quickly your WhatsApp. So I can see when a student is lazy because even the information that I'm putting on WhatsApp, if you're not bothering to read it, that will be a concern. Hi, Jesse, how are you doing? Jesse is joining
Hi,
us.
sir. I'm finally here. I'm struggling to log in on my computer, so I thought let me just join with my phone so I don't miss it.
It's the beauty of studying online. So Jessie, by the way, is my old student, and unfortunately, I think if I'm not mistaken, last year, she couldn't complete the module, but she's back. I'm so excited. But I know I'm getting a distinction from Jessie. I'm getting a distinction from Denver. So, guys, let me just break this down. So, first semester, we get a larger contingent of students. So we get more or less 30 students because it's first semester and most of the time people want to get done with finance in the first semester. But second semester, it's always more or less, it's always a small class. It's more or less 5 people, maximum could be 10. And so we have the best of class in the second semester. So you guys are really going to enjoy because I'll be able to divide my attention, you know, all for you guys, the 4 or 5 of you. So please be excited. They, like I said, I'm aiming for all my students to have a distinction. Right. So I was speaking about, so if you go on the content, let me just check something here. Just bear with me. I do not know why it's not showing me the content straight, but this is actually term 2 and it is group 1. And when you come here, obviously you will see the content. The communication is where you will get your announcement, right? So always keep up with the announcement. So make sure that the reason and even the addition of WhatsApp is to make sure that you know what is going on in the module. because you will start hearing some conversations, and if you've not been in touch with what is happening in the module, you are lost. So we would be maybe going through a particular example or exercise. Remember, again, this is practical. And if you're not in touch, you don't even know what is going on. And that already will discourage you, sort of. So I wouldn't want that. I wouldn't want that. Right. So, guys, when you go here, you have your ICE tasks. And this ICE tasks, just for attempting your ICE tasks, there is about 4 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4. The ICE task 0 is meant for plagiarism, integrity, academic integrity. So that is just more or less like a general thing. But the finance ICE task that will count towards the 10% of marks that you're gonna collect from here, you are rewarded those 10% for just attempting. So when a student does not attempt, for attempt, it's not for passing it, for attempting, because these are important. And let me tell you again, remember the formatives that I was talking about? You have the formative assessments, 2 of them, and they cover learning unit 1 to learning unit 4. Each one of these ICE tasks cover a particular learning unit. So ICE task 1 covers learning unit 1. So once you are done with learning unit 1, I would suggest that you go and attempt ICE task 1. It's like a quick quiz, right? Just to test if you do fully understand learning unit 1. When you move on to learning unit 2 at the end or in the middle, whenever you feel like, attempt ICE task 2, so that you don't let everything pile up for the end of the semester, and then you find yourself in trouble, and then you've missed 10 marks just like that. And those 10, sorry, not even 10 marks, 10%. Can you imagine that, those 10% that might be those that you need, to pass the module? It will be regrettable if, So let me again, but I always need to put my camera so that everybody know who I am. You guys know me enough. So just in order to make sure that our internet connection is secure, I'm gonna switch off my camera. Let me continue with this breakdown here. So a good question to the 2 of you, because this cannot be a monologue, right? It cannot be a one-man show. Have you guys downloaded the OneNote? Then
Yeah, I think I do have OneNote. Yeah.
Sure. So if you go on your OneNote and you basically want to open a OneNote, it's fairly simple. When you want to open a OneNote, you will definitely see the OneNote that you've been added to. Like here, I would see that, okay, this is the OneNote. It should say term 2 somewhere here, if you can see. I don't expect you to see, it's a bit small here, but you will see that there is a OneNote waiting for you, and you're just going to open it, and that's it. For the rest of the semester, you have nothing else to do, right? You have already your OneNote. Okay, so this was for semester 1. This one is for us in semester 2. I'll be sharing this. As you can see, every single learning unit is properly covered. We'll be using OneNote even for our lectures or exercise, so that, whatever we are doing in class, everybody can have access to it, right? And then it will be shared with the entire class, right? So when you see, for example, for test 1, I make it quite easy for you to look, for example, at past test 1. You don't need to worry about, I don't know what test 1 would look like, right? Because you will have multiple examples of what test 1 would look like. And not only that, you would have actually the solutions to test 1. So this is not really great, but this test 1 does not include the solutions, because this would be when we do just before you do your test one, right? We need to have a session where, I walk you through the ropes, I just what you can expect and all that. So I'll always take a paper and go through it. But let me show you here how practical this is. You will get test one with all the solutions. But the thing, like for test one would be maybe covering learning unit 1 or 2. Let's see this one. Um, yeah, this one does not clearly say, but it will be maybe covering learning unit 1 or 2. Rarely it goes until learning unit 3. Normally learning unit 3 and 4 are covered in test 2, right? So that's how it works. So when you've gone through your learning unit 1 and your learning unit 2, you can come and attempt test 1, for example, for yourself. And not only that, you have the solutions. I give you detailed solutions to test 1. I walk you through every single calculation so that you know what is what. Remember, this is a practical module. And there's a way I need to put it in front of you so that you understand, wait a minute, where did this number come from? I don't want you to ask yourself that question, right? Where did this number come from? How did he do this calculation? So it's a clear breakdown of how you get to the answer. So you do not feel at all that you need to worry. Right? So the solutions are there. So you will have test 1 examples as well as solutions. They are there. Plus, even videos are there. You can click on the video and see how I'm solving test 1. Is this quite interesting, Denver, Jesse? Is this helpful? Denver, Jesse, is this helpful?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So you have the
Yeah, it's
solutions.
definitely.
Yeah. No, thank you. So you have everything. You have the solutions to the test, the answers, but this obviously is for you to practice. The reason why I put it here is to practice. So some of my best students actually do not need me, to be honest with you. I have to tell you. But that will be like maybe just 10% of the class. Some of the best students would have access to the YouTube channel, will go through all the tutorials by themselves, and it's straightforward for them. When they come to class, it's just to ask questions on what they didn't understand. But remember, again, it's a journey, and I want to be able to cater for different levels, right? So I will be able to work with you hand in hand, until the final destination, right? So we will start learning unit 1. I wouldn't expect you to be by now already at learning unit 5 by yourself, go there and feed yourself. No, that's not going to happen. I will be working with you. I don't know if Jesse can testify. I hunt you down on WhatsApp. I hunt you down. I want to find out why you're not doing your part, right? Because I want to make sure that you get that foundation before we move to the more advanced learning unit, which will be learning unit 5 to learning unit 7. So no excuses of saying, well, but I don't have even a textbook. Nobody shipped my textbook. So you would have already big chunks of the textbooks that I've already shared with you to show you what is important in terms of your theory. You will have the breakdown. Obviously, it's longer than this, guys. It's longer than this, but I need to scroll on the sides to show you the whole thing. I need to slide slower. But as you can see, it's more than this. It takes all the examples in your textbooks and breaks them down and show you how you solve them. Because the lingering question every time is where is this number coming from? How did they get to this solution? Right? So I take you through all that. All right. So guys, that was to give you an idea. We do have test two, even more test two prep. We do have exam prep. We have all the exam preps waiting for you. So you will be able to know exactly how the exam would look like, right? So this is to tell you that you have every material that is needed for you to do well. Okay. The problem now is to walk the talk, right? We need now to be more practical. The reason why I'm saying I hunt you down for especially for your test one and your test two, make sure that you understand everything, is because once you are done with your test and then you are left with that final exam, it's not me who's saying it. So by the polls that we've run for this particular degree, according to all students, financial management is the hardest exam. But you can understand why, right? It's 180 marks exam and it is in 3 hours. So it's a shock to many people. So your test one, you will have 24 hours to complete your test one. The luxury of time, right? Test two, you will have also 24 hours to complete your test. Luxury of time, right? The problem with when now you have to go write um, a written exam in your exam venue on the in 3 hours, that becomes daunting because you've not done something like that. So I think that throws off your time management will need to be very, very good. Your time management needs to be excellent for you to do well. So, but if you did very well in your test one and in your test two, so your CAS, as you know, I trust all of you know your CAS is very high. It might just be the thing that will save you from a fail. So many students, for example, they will really, really be shocked by the exam. And that's the reason why I want you to practice, because practice will bring confidence. That's the reason why we need to practice together, because it will bring that confidence. When you go write the final exam, you are unfazed. And good students are unfazed. But if you've been a little bit too busy, you've not had much chance of really, really concentrating, then that exam will be something that will shock you, right? So we've had students crying after the exam. We've had a lot of things going on because it is a tough exam, right? So for you to achieve like a 30% for someone who's not been in class, who's not been really present, and that's the purpose of that exam, because remember, these are financial skills. There's one thing, a theory exam, maybe you can go and try your best to write just something. It might not be true, but maybe you might be rewarded for the effort. But numbers don't lie, right? When you're not getting the numbers right, it's not going to go well for you, right? Because we can't take a chance to have a graduate who does not master the skill, the financial skill, which will be the most important for you as an entrepreneur. This will be the core of what you will be doing, because money talks. And yes, so this degree, or this program, and basically the management of this program, the dean and all that, have made sure that this is a serious test for our students, to make sure that they have what it takes to become entrepreneurs. If you pass your financial module, there's no other exam out there that will be difficult for you. All right. So did I always want to warn my students so that we have an agreement. And every student will be out there thinking that, oh, you're just trying to scare us. Well, I'm sorry, but it's not going to go well for you. So if there is one thing, one little things that you can believe me on, is this, is to say that if you've not prepared enough, I've seen students, for example, getting assistance for their test 1 and test 2. I always tell my students, guys, don't do that because it's not going to be beneficial for you for your final exam because you will fail your exam miserably. You're not even going to achieve the 30%, you know, because if your overall marks are above 50%, you can still pass the module even if you failed the exam, given that your final marks for the exam was not less than 30%. But you would be surprised that many students have not been able to achieve that 30% for the final exam. So the point would be don't take chances. The module has been designed quite well to make sure that the person who passes this module really deserves it, you know. So yes, you could get assistance on your test 1 or test 2, making sure, remember that you are not cheating, and making sure that it's your own effort, right? I do understand that if something is too difficult, maybe you can get help here and there. Today we have so much help out there, especially artificial intelligence, right? So I'm not going to play dumb. Yeah, we know that you could use whatever tool is out there. The problem would be, first of all, be careful not to be caught for plagiarism. It's still important. They still and most of the theory questions you will get them in your test 1. So you need to do your proper referencing of what you are, of the sources that you are using, right? So that's number 1. But number 2 is that make sure it's your own effort. So to be honest with you, being a tenured lecturer for the module, I've noticed that students who have not done very, very well in test 1 and test 2, all of a sudden, because are there's that curve, curve of improvement, they go on to do very well for their exam. So you should not be too scared to maybe not achieve a distinction for your test 1 or test 2, but you did quite well. You passed, but you didn't get, as 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 much as you would have liked, right? But you're still working at it, right? So that kind of student will do well for your exam. I would need to pause here and just ask you, does this makes a little bit of sense?
Yes, it does.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, Denver. And that's basically all. When it comes to you understanding, because I always want to have an agreement with you to say, I as your lecturer will be there for you, will make sure that you build your financial muscles, and you are ready for your final exam. But you will need to work with me, and you will need to understand why you are doing this. And if you are not doing, you are not putting in the effort, very well that actually, you're not going to be able to pass. So just to give you an example, um, many last year, my students were in an incredible class. So whatever I put out there, warned them about certain things, they really paid attention to it. So the majority of class did extremely well, and we had so many distinctions. When it comes to, for example, this year, because it's depending on the class that you're getting. So sometimes you get a class, you feel like half of the class. And I'm able actually, as a financial lecturer, numeracy module lecturer, I'm able to evidence what I'm telling you out there, because I will analyze your results for test 1 and analyze your results for test 2. And I told them that half of the class is not putting in the effort. He's not paying attention. He's not showing up for class. He's not asking questions. So, but that half of the class, I still feel like you guys are going to think that you're gonna get a chance. You're just going to try your luck, you know, in your final exam, which I told them. But I told them that you're gonna realize that you're not ready for the final exam. And to be honest with you, it was a disaster. So that's half of the class that was not really putting in the effort in the final exam. They were hoping at least that they could get the 30%. They were not able to get that 30%. That's how, yeah, how tough the final exam can be. You see. And guess what would be the problem? Is that many students, if you are not really trying to understand what you are doing, and that's the difference. There's one who's just doing it to pass an exam, and there's one who's trying to understand what they are doing. Why are we doing this, right? That student, cannot fail because they understand, at least they understand the process. They understand what we've been covering in class. But these other students will be memorizing questions, which I'm telling you now is not the thing to do. So because I've put so many examples, materials, they will go through it, not for the sake of understanding, but for memorizing some of the questions, thinking that they will get a similar question in the exam. The problem is the exam question, when you're reading the question, they might just change a few premises, a few things in the exam question. And that's it. It throws you off. You don't know what to do. You see, so that's the danger there. Yeah. So yeah. Um. Anyway, it's the future of entrepreneurship. We want you to be successful entrepreneurs. Sorry, and money talks more than any other thing. You know it very well. The core of the business is definitely the financial management, and this is if not the most important module you have for your entire degree, right? So enough said. I've shown you. So this is the OneNote. um I'm going to move quickly. If you have any questions, please feel free to interrupt me at this time before we move on to the next thing. Okay, so all feels good at this moment. So let me take you to our YouTube channel. Uh, Sorry, just a second. Perfect. Right. So what would happen here? Denver was happy that you already subscribed, which is very good. So what you can do is, for example, go to a previous. This would be for semester 1, 2025, as you can see. So you have, for the past years, you have a wealth. You have a wealth of lectures, tutorials, all for your benefits, even a podcast, right? So when you are too busy, you just want to get an idea of, a learning unit, you can go to the podcast and you could listen to the Learning Unit 1 podcast, right? So guys, I don't know. I don't know if you are excited about this, but let me just go to semester 1. What I want to show you is that you can already, without wasting time, take maybe Learning Unit 1 and see quickly what it's all about and cover it quickly. You see, normally it should not be, a recording should not be more than an hour. And I want to keep my recording less than 30 minutes, but it's something I'm working on, because some learning units unfortunately have quite a lot, but other learning units are shorter. So that's the problem there, right? But you have learning unit 1, learning unit 2, clearly clearly named, and you can clearly see how you can move from learning unit 1, learning unit 2 to learning unit 3. You have a lot of summaries. If you feel like the learning unit is quite long, maybe look at the one where I've broken the learning unit in 2 parts, for example, right? So maybe play with that, right? And um, task 1, this will be the example of a support session. So a support session will be maybe to give you an idea what task 1 will be about, or the solution to task 1. So once you do your task 1, right, we will reconvene in class. We sit together. We go through what you did wrong, what you did right. We solve it together, and at least right? So if there's mistakes that you made, you've taken notes that you're not going to fall into the same trap. Sometimes the same question that was in task 1 or task 2 comes back again at the exam. Now, can you imagine failing the same question twice? You had the same question in task 1, and then you get it at the exam, and then you fail it still. So that would not be a good thing, right? So it's just to make sure for you to see where did I go wrong, right? So by that will be, for example, our podcast, maybe for learning unit 5. That's the podcast. You can listen, but it's just a nice breakdown within a short period. As you can see here, it's only 13 minutes, but it just gives you the overview of learning unit 5, for example, right? Learning unit 5, by the way, is the longest learning unit, so it's quite long. That's one, right? Okay, does that make sense? Although for this year, you don't need to worry and like, where do I need to start or something like that. We have our tutorials for second semester. So I will be adding. So if you are one of those students who would like to wait on me to prompt you, don't worry as well. You are not a bad student. It's just maybe we can go step by step, right? So for example, when I send learning unit 1, you'll be able to access your learning unit 1. Jesse, do you have already your OneNote? I think your OneNote should be ready by now.
So I am trying to look at it now because I have two accounts on my laptop. I have my university account and then I have my work account. And then
Yes.
for some reason, my university account, it kept telling me the organization deleted this device.
It
So I signed back into my work account and I just signed into my university or my student account on my OneNote, but unfortunately I see my content is not, it's not there yet.
no problem. We can work at that. Although on this, on our chat here, let me see if I did post, because you can open it on the browser, as you know. You can have it on the browser, whatever browser you choose. Did I put it there?
I don't know, so I'm trying to look through our announcements now, but
Yeah, yeah.
as of yet,
So, no,
I'm
no, not
not seeing.
announcement. This chat, the
Oh,
meeting chat, our meeting chat there. There is a link there for OneNote. Try to click on it and see if it takes you to OneNote. But if it's not taking you to OneNote, no panic, because I'm going to show you guys something here quickly, because you already have OneNote embedded on Teams. If you would give me 2 seconds. All right, so I don't know if you guys can see Teams. Or is it showing this chat here? Yeah, I want to go to Teams here. Um, Sorry about that. Just a moment. Let me share the correct window. So are we there? Are you, Jesse, you can see? So when you go to your teams, like your normal teams, if you have teams, because sometimes you can just click on the link and access our class every week. By the way, every week at 6 on Thursday, we have class just to check in. But on the normal teams, if you have access to your normal teams, you will see already there is a class notebook. That's your one notebook. So on the class notebook, if you click on it, so if you have Teams and you click on it, there you go. You have your class notebook there. But you can also go on your browser. Basically, you can click on the OneNote on the browser. But if you prefer the app, right? If you prefer the app, which also I would recommend because I love using the app, it's part of my ecosystem. I'll be able to, so if you're struggling, let me know and I'll be able to walk you through it. Maybe Jesse, are you able maybe to share your screen? Jesse, are you there?
No, sir. I'm
Oh,
currently I'm joining this meeting through my phone. So I'm just
okay.
trying to see if I can sign in on my Teams on my laptop again,
No,
and
no
then
problem.
hopefully
No,
I
but
will.
take your time. Take your time. Take your time. But it doesn't matter if today or tomorrow, whenever you can just send me a chat on our WhatsApp, and we can get a meeting together, and I can take you through it. But it should be more or less. It should be very simple, right?
Okay.
So either you get it on your browser, so you will click just on the link, it takes you on the browser. If that is not your preferred, maybe you would like the app, I will also take you through the app because sometimes on the app itself, you have not logged in on top there. Let me show you because this is my work account. I'll be able to show you guys that I'm logged in. So you will need to log in, obviously, for you to have access, right? So if you see here on top here, you can see that it is my work email because I'm working for Varsity College, right? So you can see that I'm logged in. So you would also you have my personal email, but I'm not logged in with my personal email. I'm logged in with my, my lecturer's email. But for you, it's going to be your student account, right? So once you log in with your student account, you should also, like I said at the beginning, then you would go to open because you need to open a new notebook. So when you go to open a new notebook, you should see your notebook appearing, the notebook that you have access to will appear and you will be able to click on it. But no worries if it's still not coming right, I'll be able to, we'll be able to do it together. All right. So guys, so that basically it. Arc is important, is for you to always keep up the communication. And also there is a lot of summaries on Arc that are quite interesting, right? Let me finish with that before we call it the night, because we've covered quite a lot for this first session. So the last thing remaining will be us to just me to walk you on Arc, because Arc is your classroom, your virtual classroom, and it is quite an important thing. And obviously, what would happen soon is that there would even be a virtual library added on Arc. So Arc is very important. Part of the thing when you are on Arc, not only yes you are accessing, but when you want to write your papers, you need to be for test one and test two. You can see your formatives here. You will need to, this will be, in your classroom, right? So Arc is very important. Arc is important because you'd also have incredible summaries, when it comes to learning. So let's say maybe you want to get, besides the lectures themselves, right? The lectures give you a quick summary of the learning unit just to allow you to have a good idea before you yourself study it, and make your own notes, because you will need to make your own notes. And feel free to make your own notes in OneNote, right? Feel free to do that. Here is the point that I am making. So in your OneNote, let me use the example of Denver. Denver, sorry to put you on the spot, but it's just an example. So in your OneNote, you would have access. As you can see, I've just shared with you Learning Unit 1. So you will be able to open Learning Unit 1 and read some sections of it, and maybe make some notes in on this platform. But if you prefer maybe to use paper and ink, feel free as well. There are many students who would rather use maybe physical notes, but many people, especially those who are studying online, are using now also online digital tools, right? So it's up to you. So if it works for you to put some notes, but I share with you some of my notes. So basically what's happening here is I'm sharing with you some of my notes, explaining to you the learning units if you are reading it, right? But if for example, you would like, before even doing this, you would like me to walk you through this, grab a lecture, go through the lecture or a tutorial, which will be basically covering the same thing. But the idea is for you to get a quick understanding of the learning unit as soon as possible. So you need already to know what learning unit 1 is all about, you know? So if you can watch a video, a 30-minute video, it will never be a 30-minute video, by the way, if you increase the speed. I hope you understand what I mean. So you can increase the speed. You don't need to listen to it at the normal speeds, especially if things start making sense to you. You will see that you can take a lecture, a 30-minute lecture. If you increase the speed to 1.25 or 1.5, that lecture, you will cover it in about 15 minutes and you are done. You have already a good idea of what learning unit 3, for example, is all about, right? So that you can have enough time to focus on the examples and the exercises that are in the learning unit. Because when you are examined on the numbers, right, you will need to produce numbers. And my very final point before I bid you good night is, if you know for a fact you have a bit of a problem with numeracy, remember in my announcement, my second announcement, check it out. Please log on to the numeracy short learning program. It's a very good program. It reminds you of ratios. I don't know if I can grab it here. But in any case, I'm sure all of you are aware of. Let me see if I can quickly show you guys so that just in case one person says, I am a bit lost. Sorry again, I will need to share my screen. Be patient with me when I have to move from one tool to another, one browser to another. So as you can see in your second announcement, I'm sure you guys have gone through it. You've actually joined me on WhatsApp. I hope all of you are on WhatsApp by now. If you can click on this one, you have this course. Apologies that it's buffering. Obviously, our internet is not always the best in South Africa. I don't know about you, Denver, on that side, but please feel free to enroll here, because the good thing is it's going to cover, obviously I'm not able to enroll on my side. Can you guys try this out? Can I?
It does the same for me, Patrick.
It does the same, right? So I am
Yep.
going to, if you can send me the screenshot that it's not allowing you, and I'm going to send it to our team, but maybe they just need to activate it, because it was I see it says term 1 year, so I think they will need to activate it. But what it's going to do is it's just basically a good reminder of those things like ratios and all that. Believe me or not, it it's painful to see a student who was not able to do well because they were not able to use their calculator properly, or they don't understand how to do properly fraction, you know and that's not a good thing, right? That's not a good thing. So I would advise you that, for example, this weekend or the beginning of next week, when you have a bit of time, just go through the numeracy, just to check if your skills are there. So you understand ratios, you understand fractions, you understand, which is basically the same thing, but you can use your calculator properly and all that. Please do that. Please do that, because this is very important. I wouldn't want you to be losing marks and failing because of this. But I have to tell you guys that I would definitely we would enjoy this semester together. Hang on, hang on. Just work with me, step by step. I think we will do good. We'll do great. All right, right, guys. Are we on the same page? Can we call it the night?
Yes. Thank you, Patrick.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yes, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Denver. Thank you, JC. And for all of you who are not able to make it tonight, please, go through everything that I've touched on this recording, and please make sure that you are up to date. All right, so I'll stop the recording now, and I'm going to wish you a good night.
Thank you, sir.
Perfect. Thank you, JC.